Hello, today I'm going to be doing the Ultimate Book Lovers tag. I was tagged by Charlie at various altitudes. This tag was originally created by Sam at Sam's Nonsense, and I will link both those down below for you. So yeah, I'm just going to dive straight into this. Question 1 is what are your top 3 favourite books? This was really hard. I have a lot of favourites and all for completely different reasons. I excluded books that I'd used in other categories, and I also excluded Harry Potter because seriously, Harry Potter is everybody's favourite. That's like a given. So Harry Potter is my favourite, but these are also books that kind of stood out to me for a long time, I think. The first one is Northern Lights by Philip Pullman. This, I have no idea where I got this copy from. I have all 3 books in this kind of cover. They're like thick and squarish, and really, oh, they smell wonderful. Northern Lights has been my favourite book, I think, since I read it. It's always been up there with Harry Potter. I've read it like 6-7 times, maybe more, I don't know. I like this one much more than I like the other 2 though, but I am incredibly so much looking forward to the Book of Dust. Like, so yes, Northern Lights is amazing. It's got everything you could want in a book in it, and demons are amazing. Like that. I mean, I've read so many books with like that kind of concept exists as well, like familiars and things like that, but this was just and lots of people have read this, so you probably know that, so I'm moving on. My other favourites are a bit more specific to me as an adult, I think. The first one is The Music Room by William Fiennes. This is actually non-fiction. It's about his childhood at a castle somewhere. His family were really rich, but it's kind of magical in a really wonderful way. Like it's captured that kind of magic and nostalgia and wonder in childhood. And surprisingly, I did find a lot of things in here that I could really relate to. It's also got a kind of focus point on William Fiennes' brother, Richard, I think his name was, who suffers from epilepsy all through his life, and the effects that it has on their family and on Richard himself. And yeah, it's just a wonderful book. It's my favourite memoir, I think. So I love this book. It's so kind of calming and wonderful, and I could fall asleep in a good way. Next book is one that I find it quite hard to say why I like it. It's The Earth Hums in B Flat by Mary Strachan. It's about a little girl called Gwenny who lives with her family in Wales in the 1950s. There's a lot in here that I really found emotional and very personal, I think, connection to this book that I can't quite explain. So yeah, if you've read this book, I'd like to discuss it with somebody. Yay! Question 2 is your 3 least favourite books. The only one I actually have is this one, which a lot of people might disagree with me on, but I thought this was horrendous. This was so out of character, so obviously written by someone who does not know the world, and just didn't really respect it either. This was just a mess of a book that was just a kind of fan pleaser fan fiction thing. Literally, I have actually read better fan fictions, so many better fan fictions, that I would rather be canon than this. This is just painful to think about. It's painful to own. I'm probably not going to own it for very much longer. The more I look at it, the more I'm like, no, go away. So yeah, that one over swiftly. My other 2 least favourites are The Painted Ocean by, what was his name? Gabriel Packard. I wrote a very long review basically slamming this book. It was just appalling in so many ways. And the fact that this guy also teaches creative writing really was just like, how? Because he basically did everything you should not do, really, in literature, I think. And I think there are ethics to writing about people groups and cultures you are not a part of that he basically ignored, and got really annoying about in a meta creative right. Oh my gosh, this book is just, I can't even comprehend it right now. It can go away. This book was awful. I think it's got like a 2.5 average on Goodreads, so I'm not the only one that thinks this, which is good to know, because seriously, because I could talk about it for hours for how much I hate that book. The other one is Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte, because no, there is nothing to like about this book in my opinion. All the characters are awful, all the characters are awful to each other. It's just moody and depressing and not my thing. I had to drag myself through that book at uni. I really couldn't. No, not uni, college. Yeah, I don't like that book. That was just like, made me miserable the entire time. Okay, question 3 is a popular author that you love. I didn't expect to. Actually, this guy is Patrick Ness. Basically, I think when I was a kid, I decided Patrick Ness's books are definitely not my thing, and I was completely wrong about it. So last year, I read every single one of his books that is published because I loved him a lot. He wrote The Knife of Never Letting Go. This was the second book of his that I read. I read the first one, which is A Monster Calls, and like cried on my way home from work. It's amazing, you should read it. The Knife of Letting Go is slightly different style, and actually more than this has a very similar kind of style. First person, very close perspective. They're both chunky books, chunky. And Patrick Ness, I think, has a problem with downtime. He just can't write it. These books are intense from page 1 to the end. They're just like, no, we're not going to sit here and just have tea and talk nicely or have a hug. Nope, doesn't happen. Everything is on fire, going a million mile an hour the entire way through the book. And I'm still undecided about whether I like that or not. But I can't deny that he made me read 5 of his books in the space of like 2 months. So he's great. I must like him, I think. Question 4. A popular author that you don't love. This one was quite hard because I think there's quite a lot of authors that I'm just not interested in, especially in YA. I'm very picky about my YA books, especially fantasy, because I think the things that are kind of popular at the moment I am just not interested in, which is a lot to do with warrior, princess, assassin kind of tropey characters. No, I just no. So Sarah J. Maas is who I've picked for that one, because her books don't remotely interest me whatsoever. I haven't even picked them up to read the blurbs because the cover is enough for me. It's got everything I don't want in it. No, I'm judging that one hard. And I've also heard quite a lot of bad things about her writing, so I'm like, no thank you. Number 5 is an underrated book I think everyone should read. This one was easy. I was talking about this one a lot last year. It's The Bone Sparrow by Zana Frelon. Yes, Frelon. This is an incredible book. I got this one as a review copy from the publisher, sent by my wonderful friend who works for them. Yay! It's just beautiful. It's a beautiful book, and it's a book that I think really needs to be read right now. It's about a little boy who is born into an immigration detention centre in Australia, and he has never seen the outside world. And it's also about a little girl who lives in the local village who doesn't know about this camp until she stumbles upon it. I think it's a great introduction to children on human rights and things like that. And it's a powerful book for any age, so I heartily recommend this one. Question 6 is a series you won't finish. That one was easy. Game of Thrones. I gave up on the series, not because I wasn't invested or interested in the characters and the story. It's just the writing is so dense, and there's so much that is just so unnecessary for us to know. Like, there was one scene where like a guy walks in to serve food to somebody, and we get his entire like genealogy for a couple generations, and then he is never seen again. And I'm like, editing is a thing. Cut out what you don't need. These books would be a lot thinner if he did that. But yeah, so I'm kind of, I haven't been watching the series either, so I can't say I just carried on with that. I've just kind of given up. Question 7 is my earliest bookish memory. Oh, this was nice. I actually just made a video where I talked about this book as well, so it's getting a lot of attention today. That can only really go to these books. There's a whole series of them, but these are the only 2 I have. Little Tim and the Brave Sea Captain, and Tim to the Lighthouse by Edward R. Dizoni. These are amazing books. I remember just starting school and these were in the library and I went nuts over them. These were like the first books I properly fangirled over. I pretended to be Tim in the school playground and my friends were like, you can't be a boy, and I was like, why not? So I did, and these books were great. These were so much fun. They're about a little boy who I think must be like 5, but I always imagine him so much older because I was so much younger. And he makes friends with, ooh, that's quite battle scene. I don't remember. But yeah, these books are about a little boy who makes friends with the lighthouse keeper, and they have lots of adventures at sea and storms and in the town, and there's whales and pirates and apparently fight scenes. And it's great. There's loads of beautiful pictures. These books were really kind of integral to my reading, I think. They were, oh, I loved them. They were wonderful. I'm done. And the question 8 is my favourite bookish memory. This was really hard because my entire life has revolved around books, so there are a lot of great bookish memories. So I did lots of thinking, and it was a toss-up between 2 different events that happened when I was at university in Bath, and this one won. So this was going to see Neil Gaiman at his signing 4 days before the publication of this book. Hearing him read a chapter, I cannot read this book without hearing his voice. It's wonderful. I went with a group of friends from the internet. This was the first time I'd met several of them, and it was wonderful. I just, so great. And I think I'm mixing up my memories of this one and also one where we went to see J.K. Rowling, which I think was a few months later or a year later or something. But both times it was incredible. Like, they stayed around my house. I don't think my housemates at the time, when I was at uni, actually thought I had any friends, so it was quite nice to fill the entire house with far too many people, and yeah, it was great fun. And I really miss you guys if you're watching. So yeah, this was great fun. It was not only great to meet Neil Gaiman, who I really, really admire, and to hear him read, but also just like the amazing experience it was for us to go as a big group and for me to host this crazy meetup of random internet people. It was kind of, I think, quite brave and quite scary and quite overwhelmingly awesome, and I just, yeah, it was great. So that's my favourite memory. Yay!